Hello viewers, welcome back to my channel Radhika TechHub. In this tutorial, I am going to explain authentication for the login page using of ReactJS, NodeJS and MySQL. Before that, see how to create the login page. I has been posted the link in the below description. Can see and create the login page before going to do the authentication. And the user can log in through username, either email or email address, the password matching of that. First, I will log in with the username, and when I enter the username and with the right correct password, it is show that login success. And when I enter the wrong username and the password is correct, and it is showed user not match. If the person log in with their email address, and it should be success, sorry, wrong email address .com is not mentioned, so login success. Now the email address is wrong, so user not match. Now email address is correct and the password is wrong, so password not matched. So the user can log in through his username or its email address. So we'll do all this authentication using of Node.js, MySQL and integrate that Node.js API to React.js. We will see. We have to set up our Node.js in Visual Studio Code. So first we will create one folder. So we will set up our Node.js. And before that, in the React.js, we have to install our Axios to integrate our APIs and to get the data. So we install that Axios. So we will install that Express, which is a framework which is used to build for the web applications, mobile applications, and it is used in JavaScript, Express and NodeMon, which we can easily start our server. And we are using the MySQL and the Postman. So Postman, we have to give the inputs, the username and email address, which will be giving for the request body. So body parser anchors, which will be used for providing the middleware for the security purpose, and which allows the resources with the different origins, and we will perform that get and post operations. So we require the curse, and we required a dot environment which is used to provide the secure sensitive data for our credential purpose. Dot env. I'm installing all together. Meanwhile, in installation, I will explain the React.js which I created already. You can see the link in the below description of designing of login page. Here I am taking the login page, and I used the formic for this. Before going to our before going to hit our API, so we have to authenticate the input field will be filled or not correctly. So by using the formic has been created that handling of that login page. So here I am taking the errors which I have not entered any username or email address in the username field or email address field. So it should be provide that error as the email address is required. So to provide that and to get that errors in the form of by storing of errors. And touch and handle change, all you know that it will stores the data when we change our inputs. So handle blur, which is used for the toucher reactions, when we move the cursor from one field without entering any content, so it cracks the touching operation of input fields. So has been taken the input fields with the name of email and the password. For this validation has been taken. So in the user in the login page will not require this because it is authenticated by the data which is stored in our DB. So when I have not entered any username or any email address, it shows the username or email address is required. Please enter the email or username. And if I not entered any password and without entering any password, it is I'm going to click on the login. So it should not be hit the API. So please enter the password by using formic, and yep is used for the validation of login page. So it's completed. So I will create an app.js. In .env file. So I will create our port number. I'm taking a 5000. And for the DB username, you can give here, and the password. I'm not showing my username and password here. So const express, we are already installed this one. And for the port, I am porting this one env. So already been installed that .env. So const port equals to, I'm getting from the env, has been already shown that. So I have to call that express, right? So const app equals to express. So app dot listen, we have to call that port and we have to listen to the server, right? So I'm consoling here. listening to the port. So we will see our port is coming on and not it connected to our port or not. So before going that, we have to initialize start. So node1 has been installed already. So we are created the server which we listen to the port is app.js. So npm start. So it listening to the port of 5000 which has mentioned the port number with 5000 in .env file. So now we will connect to our database. So has been not created, so I will created the folder with the config folder and with the file name of dbconfig. I am taking dbconfig.js. So const mysql has been installed already. So I am importing my mysql and const dbconfig. I am taking the file name. So mysql has been already required that one. So mysql dot create connection. So I am taking the host name. I am using the host name like localhost. So my database has been created, my database with user db. I already told that I initialized my username and password in the .env file, and what you has been created your username and password for the workbench you has to mention here. I will call my .env here. So process.env .user and my password. So I have to connect to our database. So dbconfig dot connect. So if I get an error, I have to throw it. If I have no error and it successfully connect to my database, I will console it whether it is successfully connected. It database connected successfully. So we have to export it. Module dot exports or db config. So I am requiring these in app.js. We'll see it is connected successfully or not. Yeah, it is successfully connected to our database and it is showing database connected successfully. Now we'll create our user service. I will create one folder with the services. I will call my database, that is nothing but a db-config file in service, because we will write the query and we will write the API here. So const db-config. So I will rename dbcon. So user login we are doing for now. So I am with name of user login I am using that async. So with the request and response, we are giving the username and password through the request body. So I'm destructuring, I'm giving the email or username. We can name it through whether we will give email, whether we will give the username or email. So I am taking the name as a email itself only, and I am getting from the request.body. My query is, I am naming this query. So select star from, my table name is user information. So I will show my what I am created. So I am created the user DB as the database, and the table name is user information has been entered 3 rows in our DB. So 3 rows it is. So we are using now user information table. When I entered an email address, so I want to check whether where email it is. So I am giving the email. So when I am giving the username, not an email, I am logging with the username. So I am naming it as SQL query 1, and I will check where the username is. So start select star from the same table which I am giving is user information, and where the username is. So username is, I am giving with the email only, whether it is email or username, it will be stored in the email itself. So when I am not given any email address, so it has the data comes from the database is null. So when I connecting with the database connection dot query, I am not entering any email address, I am logging with the username. So the data come from the first SQL query is null. So we will write it SQL query, and I am giving the request.body through the email. So whether I am getting an error or data, I will store here. So when I am not entering an email at the time of the time, I will get is, first we will log in with the email address. After we, So when I'm getting the data dot length equals to 0, so at that time I want to display that is means not the email is not matched. Status of 400 I am giving, and the message I am giving is user not exist. If my data with greater than 0 dot length is not 0, greater than 0 it is. So at this time I am creating an, so here I am not mentioned the catch, that's why I'm getting an error here. So response.json, and the message I am printing is the error. So when I the length I am getting of greater than 0, I am creating separately it is. So at that time it check the username is matched, so we have to check now the password. So here I am taking the request dot body and data as the variables and the response. So at this time if data dot length greater than 0 has been mentioned, so if my I which I mentioned in the password field and in the database which has been stored as a password should be matched. So data of 0 dat password equal to password which I am passing through the request dot body should be matched. If it is match means then I am getting the response of 200 and the login success, because the username already been checked in the query and now we are checking the password here. So with the status of 200 and the message I am giving here is login success. Yes, if the password is not matched, because which I entered our password and which is present in our DB is not exactly matched. So at that time we will give as a password not matched. So response.json, the status of 400 I am giving, and the message should be password not matched. Why I'm giving the separate method, because of when we log in with the username and when we log in with the email we have to call it the same, we have to write the same code of password matching. So we are writing it two times. Why should we write the two times? We are duplicating the code, so that's why we'll separately we'll write the method for the password checking and we'll call here as like this. When I am calling here I'm passing here data request which I am getting the username and password and the response. So now we will log in with the email address only, because we are not written any user. So before that we have to write a router. So we will create one route. const I am calling here user service. In the services field, and so router dot, now I'm using the post slash login user service dot, we have named it as, we are not exported, right? So module dot exports user login, we have named our method. So dot user login, we have to export it, right, our routers, then only we can import. So I'm using the user. So in the routes has been created my user router. So I will call that app.use. So I can call through user slash login. So I'm calling user here. So I already told that we have to use the curse. So after integration we'll do this. So we can check it through our postman now. Email address and the password with the email address with radhika@gmail.com and the password Radhika, and we will see the login success, or so we'll see login success. If I enter the wrong email address, so user not exist. Okay. When I am enter the username, so it should be match, right? So we will write that code. So now we are checking here if the data dot length equal to 0, at that time we return that user not found. So if the user has been entered his username, so at that time we have to check, right? So in this place we will write the, we will check our username in our database. So await db dot query of has been taken of SQL query 1, comma, and if I get an error or data 1 I am taking, so if again data 1 dot length equal to 0, at that time the username which has been the user has been entered, it should not be matched in our database. So at that time we will say user not exist in our database. So if the username is exist, so we will go and we'll check the password as the user entered with his username or email address, right? So at that time the password again checked. If the password is not matched, if the password is not matched, it shows the password not matched. If the password is correct, then login success. So we'll check again. Now I am here only entering Radhika. So it is the username of that email address. So we'll check. Oh, sorry, it is going, but it is not. It is stopping because of here the data 1 we has been taken. Now the login success, the username is correct and the password is correct. Now I am entering the wrong username. So we'll check now. User not exist. Now the username is correct, but the password I has been entered is wrong. So password not matched. When I am entering with the email address, now the email address is correct and the password is wrong. So password not matched. Now the email address is correct and the password which is related to that email address is also correct. So login success. Okay, the user can enter his username or his email address with the correct password. It will be matched and login success. So now we will integrate this API in our front-end login design page. And we have to take here fonts. We already installed the curves. Now we'll go for the front end. And we have been already installed our Axios. First we will write our method. Fonts login handle. Axios which we has been not imported yet. Will import. Now we'll take Axios. Has been taken the post method. We can use post for getting also. So here I am taking the post. So that has to be matched what we have taken. So and now my URL. This is my URL. And the parameters now we have to pass. We are taken the initial values. We has been taken the email and the password. We have taken initial values, email and password, and that values which are changed in by handle chain will be stored in the values. So values dot email. Here we have taken the URL and we have to pass in our request body. We have taken email and password and we are sending that email and password. The message which has been declared for the status as status as a 200 400 and the message, and that will be get from this data. And if we get any error, so we'll get the error. First we will see and this login handle method, when I click the button, at that time it has to be called. So when I click on the button, this method has been called, and we'll see the output. So I am entering with the username. So when I click here, I got the status as a 200 and the message is login success. We are passing in the response. This is only. So when I am entering the wrong username, so I got the status of 400 as the message as user not exist. When I am login with the email address, so login success 200, the correct email address, but the password is wrong. At that time, I will get the 400 of status and message of password not matched. So will toast it when it comes 200 and when it comes 400. So if I get data.status equal to 200, at that time I want to be message with the success. When I get the 200, it should be in the success of toast. When I get 400, the toast with error, the coloring has been changed according to that. So we will refresh it. So no need of this, I am not consoling anything. So login success. So we want this login success to be in the center. We can place it that also. Top center. Now I am okay. We'll do. So password not matched. So the login is success now. And when I am login with the username, so login success. When I am entering wrong username, user not exist. So this is the how authentication using of NodeJS, MySQL, and that APIs will be integrating with our ReactJS. If you like this video, please subscribe to my channel. Click on the bell icon, it will give the notifications when I upload the new videos. And before that, seeing of authentication video, see the designing of login page. Then you will be clear about that front end code of in react js, designing of login and using of